Welcome back. My name is Chris Seshnelli. I get to build, buy, and sell simple profit businesses every single day. And today we're going to be talking about how to create and position an offer for your revenue engine. So last time we left off, we were talking about our revenue engine. This is actually our schematic. And we're in the process of building out the revenue engine in public and having you guys follow along as we're doing it and using the content of what we're doing, like quite literally doing it for ourselves so that we can then create this content and then help you do it as well as we build in public and share it. So where we are on this journey is the fact that everything starts somewhere, and where we're starting is step number one. If you haven't watched the video on the revenue engine schematic, we'll link to it in the description below. And you could also follow this video and you can find it, right? So we'll link to it there too. But where we start is start with an offer, right? In the revenue engine, everything starts with an offer. And the offer is just a place to understand, who we're talking to, who the target market is, who the potential buyer is, right? Who your ideal customer is. And then creating a compelling, story in a sense that gets them to take action, right? So when we talk about starting with an offer, what we're really talking about is creating a landing page, ideally, right? So that we could centralize everything in one central place to make it simple, keep it simple, so that we could send traffic or potential buyers to one irresistible, hopefully, value proposition that then captures and converts interest, right? So you want your target audience to be compelled enough about the messaging that's taking place on this landing page to then take action, ideally immediately, so that they can either make a purchase, especially if it's a lower cost basis, lower ticket. Maybe it's like selling a simple digital product like a tripwire or something of that nature, or potentially taking action to sign up for more information. So quite literally, the definition of a lead magnet or the definition of a conversion campaign, to create and position an offer that creates enough interest for somebody to take action, right? So the goal at the end of the day here is to figure out how you can make an offer so good that your potential customer feels foolish in not taking advantage of it, right? You don't want them to say no. Take away the freedom for somebody to say no by making the offer feel and appear so good. And we're going to go through in a couple of slides here how to do that, right? So we're going to actually talk about some best practices in terms of how to create and craft your optimal offer per se. And then I'm actually going to show you the very simple, keep it simple, because again, we're doing this for ourselves. We're doing it so that we can show you what we're doing so that we can then create this content. So I'm going to show you the offer and the landing page that I created as a part of this overall campaign and content strategy that we're running around building a revenue engine, talking about the inception of an offer, right? So you guys could see us doing it. And then we're going to take this content and turn it into an offer, like what we did with the revenue engine. So you guys are seeing us do this in real time, which I think is pretty cool. So end of the day, to structure an offer, right? We're going to go through the structure of an offer, and then we're going to go through the strategies around how to create and design an optimal one. And then I'm actually going to show you one and the mechanics, the piping, to be able to, rubber meets road, actually be able to format and create and bring an offer to market, right? Again, this is the first step of your revenue engine. You're not going to just create one, right? Everything starts with one, but the whole goal here is to be able to constantly test out new offers to market so you could figure out ways that you could drive incremental interest, and from that incremental interest, ultimately convert it into attention and customers, right? So you're going to be stacking a lot of offers over time, over a long period of time. So these are the fundamentals, blocking and tackling. This is the piping of your revenue engine. And I just want to asterisk that before we get started. Everything starts with an offer, but it doesn't just start with one. It's more, better, new, right? And you're going to go through that more, better, new process. In order to start with structure, it takes place with, it's a focus, right? Strategy equals focus. Structure is the foundation and the fundamentals to be able to execute a good strategy. To start, we're going to look at the audience, right? So it all starts with who you're targeting. And you really want to take some time to go through your audience persona mapping. You got to understand who your ideal persona customer is. And that's different content, different video, different scope. but you want to take this and this is how you utilize it, right? So once you understand who your audience is, who your potential buyer is, you can understand what they want, what they fear, what they need, what their pains are, and then you're positioning an offer that feels like it's tailored for them because it's solving their problems, it's making their life better, right? And the whole goal here is to create value. So you're going to then highlight a value proposition, and your offer should really clearly articulate the value of what somebody's going to get, right? What are you bringing to them so that they care and they care fast, right? Get to the value fast, right? So that you can hopefully get to the conversion even faster. But it should be clear. It should be pretty clear at a pretty quick clip of what it is that you're positioning and what somebody gets pretty fast, because the attention span of a landing page is very, very, very minimal, right? So you're going to have, conversion, marketing and messaging, right? Ideally from either your cold outbound machine, which we're going to get to at later stages, really the next step of this revenue engine as we put it together and build it. And then eventually as things mature and you have even more components of your revenue engine, you're going to have, referral campaigns, referral marketing coming in. You're going to have your warm relationship from things like your YouTube channel, your podcast, your newsletter. You're going to have paid acquisitions coming in. So all this traffic, right, all the messaging is driving attention that's going to get to the offer. And your goal is to make it quick. So in terms of making it quick, also ideally, you kind of want it to be, you want to create some urgency. You don't want to manufacture urgency in a false way or ever have any sort of false narrative. The other aspect of creating an offer is you want to make sure, even though the goal is to make somebody feel foolish for not saying yes, you want to make sure it's an offer that you're going to deliver on, right? So you never want to overpromise and then under-deliver into your offer. And that's the art and science of doing this the right way, right? And there is a fundamental right way of doing this, and that's what hopefully we're going to be going through in terms of the how right now. Urgency, many folks try to manufacture urgency. They'll say, hey, we only have, 10 of these left. But it's like, if you had 11 customers come in, you'll take 11 customers, right? So I highly recommend trying to avoid any sort of false narrative of a sense of urgency. But if you really do have, like maybe you're running a contest and there is a set number of seats, or for us founding members, right, there's 100 founding members, it's a finite quantity, supply demand, right? Supply demand is probably the best way to manufacture a real urgency where it's actually grounded and rooted in something. And people, if it doesn't pass the sniff test, people aren't going to convert. And we're just savvy consumers at this point. So you're not really getting anything over on anybody. You're only hurting yourself if you're not just, honest and have integrity with everything that you're doing and approaching. On top of that, you want to offer something irresistible, but you don't want to make it, you don't want to overpromise, right? So probably the hardest part of structuring your offer is coming up with, the strategy of approach that makes it hyper appealing, where you're creating a disproportionate amount of value in terms of the perceived value of what somebody's getting versus the cost associated with it. And there's a strategy to be able to do this. And that's what we're going to get into in the next slide. But, you want your offer to be irresistible. And it should be something that your audience at the end of the day, they don't want to pass up on, right? And again, there's strategies, we're going to get into that in the very next slide, so that you're not over promising and under delivering, trying to create this, urgent, irresistible offer, the golden goose in a sense. Like, just be grounded, be realistic, be authentic, and do right by your audience when you're creating these. You want to create clear and compelling copy or messaging, right? So you want it to be very clear, succinct. You want somebody to understand what it is that you're saying and what you're doing and what you're delivering. Like, almost think of it like a contract to a certain extent, right? Like, I feel way more comfortable entering into a simple agreement where it's like very, in kind of like layman's language, in a sense, common language. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? I would just want to know, right? Same with copy. Compelling copy is simple, right? So keep it simple. If you can incorporate social proof, which social proof is the evidence of other people benefiting from this, that's great, right? Do that. But everything starts somewhere, and sometimes you can't, right? For example, with us, with the founding member, our founding member, I'll call it a campaign, but what we're doing in terms of getting to our first 100 founding members within the community over at bootstrapper.community, which is a place where we can build better together, specifically if you're bootstrapping a better business on a budget, right? Everything starts somewhere, and sometimes you don't have that social proof, and that's okay. So, own it if that's the case. Otherwise, like, go out and find a handful of folks that you could just like work with, influence some value, and that's what we've done, and we've been able to incorporate that through our advisory business and some of the things that we're incorporating into the community. But now you can bring social proof to the table, and it's kind of just more credibility. It's, these folks are vouching, and, it gives that sense of confidence, right? From a visual perspective, this is something that people debate all the time, and there's folks that are way more in the weeds and nerd out on conversion marketing and landing pages than I do. And I kind of enjoy it quite a bit. I spend quite a bit of time on it. But, some folks will have an argument that visual doesn't matter, right? And a basic bare bones landing page with great copy converts better than something that's visually appealing. So there's different schools of thoughts here. You want it to be visually appealing enough. You want it to function. You want it to be user-friendly, right? Intuitive in terms of design. My preference is keep it simple, right? Keep it simple when it comes to a landing page. You want to get your message to somebody. You want somebody to see your offer. You want them to understand your offer. You want them to consume your offer and then take action on your offer. So keep it simple, right? And that brings you to the call to action, which at the end of the day is what you want somebody to do, right? So the CTA is going to be, you're presenting this offer. This is what you get. In order to do that, you need to take this action. That's the call to action. And CTAs matter, right? You want to use action-oriented language. You want to be able to kind of facilitate the next step to the outcome, right? Now, when we're talking about outcomes, we're really talking about the strategy around structuring the offer itself, right? So previously we were talking about offer something that's irresistible. This is kind of the strategy of how you can create an irresistible offer, right? So we're going to talk about 5, and then the 6 is actually all of them bundled together. So just a little fast forward the videotape for you. The first is value stacking. This is something that we use ourselves, quite literally the bootstrapper bundle, which is the bundle of everything that a bootstrapper needs to be able to build a better business on a budget, right? So if you're a bootstrapper joining the bootstrapper community, then you need certain tools and resources, support, right, solutions, and you're on a budget by definition. So our job, our goal, the job to be done is to bundle together as many things in the ecosystem that we can at an affordable price to get you what you need to build a better business on a budget. So that's our bundle. And our bundle is quite literally the definition of a value stack. A value stack is just the concept of putting a lot of things together. You're involving bundling additional products, services, bonuses to increase the proportional value in terms of a cost, benefit analysis of somebody who's potentially looking to buy. I love the value stack. I think the value stack is great. Everything we do typically starts in terms of building around the value stack because it also involves like bringing in more. Typically it involves relationships and partnerships, which is also great for distribution. So there's other, intrinsic benefits that come from that as well. Risk reversal is quite literally core to the definition of entrepreneurship, right? Because it's a risk mitigated approach to capitalism. That's what we teach, when we're promoting the concept of entrepreneurship in our community and across the portfolio at Bootstrapper Capital. Entrepreneurship, it's a less risky approach to capitalism. So if you actually go through and you work through the Entrepreneur Journal, you're going to figure out how to approach, take a less risky approach to capitalism, which is taking risk off the table so you can minimize your downside and increase the likelihood of your upside. And there's no difference when you're doing risk reversal with an offer. So you're trying to take away the perceived risk from a customer of just taking action and moving things forward. Very important. It just makes sense. It makes a ton of sense to do it. You're trying to make it, easy to say yes in a certain sense. And if you take risk off the table, it's easier to say yes. So that's the psychology behind it. An example of risk reversal would be something like, money back guarantees after, try it for 30 days. If you're not happy or you don't see X, result or outcome, here's, money back. Free trials with SaaS, right? So, you could have a full feature product access at, for 7 days or something, 3-day trial. and then afterwards it gets stripped down to bare bones features until you upgrade, right? Those are risk reversals, right? Price anchoring is something that, we don't necessarily use too much. It's a different type of structure for a different type of offer than what we tend to, for different types of solutions than what we tend to sell. However, it is something that works, and it's a psychological thing. Um, from my understanding of it, you're anchoring your price to something that the consumer perceives to be of more value, and because you're anchoring it to something alongside, you're referencing something that has a very high price, yours becomes more attractive, right? So I guess when I think about it, we can sometimes see ourselves using this when we're selling services in our portfolio, but it's not something that we necessarily bake in to our approach to offers, but it works. So it's something for consideration of your business if it's something that you want to incorporate, want to be able to add in here. Urgency and scarcity is what we talked about and referenced on the previous slide in terms of structure. Structuring of urgency is making it known in the copy. Strategy around it is limited time offers, right? So we're only going to be doing this for the next Black Friday deal would be a great example, right? That's probably one of the best examples I could give of an urgency and scarcity where it's not necessarily like falsely manufactured, right? Which is my typical concern when you're dealing with urgency and scarcity inside of an offer. But something like a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday, one day flash, right? Again, earlier I said limited. So if for founding members, first 100 gets this. That's quantity, right? That's a supply demand thing that creates urgency, right? So think about market mechanics, and then think about things that can tie back to a sense of FOMO, because that's what you're really trying to create is a fear of missing out for your customer. But you want to create a fear of missing out where it's actually grounded in reality, right? So from a point of efficacy, right, you're doing it for the right reasons and you're able to run the campaign appropriately. Future pacing is really sales. I think of it as storytelling realistically, and storytelling is sales. It's the ability to paint a picture of what it will look like, after after somebody takes action on the offer. It's visualization of the benefits, the positive outcome, right? Future pacing is like very popular in more like consultative sales types of approaches, or coaching businesses, services, things of that nature, where you can kind of paint a picture of the transformation that's going to take place. With us, we have our business advisory, and we don't necessarily sell an offer. We don't position offers off of future pacing, but we actually integrate future pacing into our delivery mechanism. So as we're working with folks and we're creating a simple plan, which a simple plan is to design your North Star, to go through a business valuation, and then create a simple plan to transform your business to unlock value, build wedge equity. The act of building wedge equity or identifying how to unlock value is future pacing. So we actually integrated into the kickoff, part of our, working and engaging with advisory clients. All of these combined, when you're talking about creating an irresistible offer, it's about putting all of these together, as many of them as possible together from a strategy perspective, to try to design the perfect offer, right? Create that grand slam offer where you just ultimately achieve that goal of making somebody feel foolish for not taking advantage of it, for saying no, right? If you can do that, then you ultimately, hopefully, win this game of marketing, which, hopefully converts into profitable sales for you, right? From a formatting the offer perspective, the structure and then the strategies combined equals the formatting of the pipes for how you're going to actually create this and then do it, right? Because all this information is great, but if we don't get it done, what value is there really, right? This whole thing is about path to utilization, so that we actually take these concepts and then we put them to work inside of our business and we get to simple, profitable outcomes. So from formatting the offer perspective, you're gonna write the offer. You're gonna want to have a headline that actually communicates that value. So you're taking all the things from the structure, right? So you want to make sure that it's clear and compelling copy, and then you're leveraging your headline, your subheadline to present the offer, right? The hook, right? This is the thing that you're going to get, right? Make somebody pay attention. The introduction is kind of the story, right? Where you're telling the compelling story. Maybe you're future pacing in it of what they're going to get if they, the benefits. You want to sell the benefits, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, the way to close is to sell into the benefits. You're going to include that social proof if you have it, and then you're going to create the call to action. Following this format is the fundamentals, the fundamental blocking and tackling of building, an ideal by the book landing page. And it's kind of simple, right? So I'm going to show you an example of ours, the one that we did for this actual, campaign onto itself, right? So we started everything last week with recording this video around our revenue engine. And I think it was like 37 minutes of me actually literally going through the 9 steps of building a revenue engine, 10 if you include scale, right? And talking through each of the components that go into the machinery that goes into building the engine itself, right? The landing page Grand Slam offer is steal our revenue engine, right? So we're allowing you to steal it. We're taking what we've already built. We're letting you use it as your own, and you can swipe our schematic. So what you're getting is the schematic of our revenue engine for free. So claim your own free copy of our revenue engine schematic so you can implement it in your business. Now, that being said, in looking at this, reviewing it, if I was to tear it apart, there's quite a bit that we could tear down. And if we went through and wanted to take the intentional time, which maybe we do in a future video, and we do a teardown video once we run this and we see some performance, maybe we run some metrics, and based off the data, we'll do a teardown of how to improve it so we can follow more, better, new. But just off the top of my head, I could look at this and probably say we could improve some of the copy. We could make the benefit a little bit clearer, right? We could make this more of a too good to say no. Like, why wouldn't I, put in my email? We could probably put some risk reversal, like risk mitigation in here. So it's like, a no-brainer. We have the video here, which is the social proof for our situation. This would be the social proof because it's the 37-minute video that Teach, Trains, Equips of the use of this. So it's presenting the value in video form. We don't have any benefits, right? So we don't have any bullets of benefits. That's something we could add in here so that it could be very clear as to why somebody would want a revenue engine, why you'd want to steal ours, right? And I could probably improve the copy in terms of showing some data, which would be better versions of social proof, build in public style. This is our results. So that's why you would want to steal ours, swipe it, get it. Maybe a little screen share of what it looks like. In terms of pulling back curtain, what you're actually getting is a copy of our revenue engine, of the Miro board, so that you can actually take it and use it, make it your own. But the call to action for us is get your schematic. Get your schematic is pretty clear. It's pretty straightforward. Email here, get your schematic. We got a little arrow. Same as up here. When we put our email in this, right, what happens is you get redirected to a secondary landing page. And this is a secondary landing page to claim your benefits as a founding member to our community. So the goal, again, back to our revenue engine schematic here, is to build these intent-based lead magnets. Again, the intent here is if you want to steal our revenue engine, you click the copy, you land on our landing page so that you can get the schematic to steal our revenue engine, right? Probably came from the YouTube video, or you came from our code messaging or a newsletter, right? Or a referral partner who shared it with you. Once you get that lead magnet and you get the intent based, we redirect you to a community trial page, to a landing page, right? So we're trying to convert to the customer relationship. And the lowest tier customer relationship for us, it's not technically right now, it's not a trial, it's 3, right? It's only 3. Why? Because, 3 is practically free, right? So that's our clever copy. But you're locking in your founder member benefits, and then this is a conversion page. I'm not going to do a conversion page teardown in this video. Different time, different place, different content. But then you also, off of that email, you get an automation where now you're going to get an automated email to collect your swipe file, right? Which was the promise. That was the promise made. Enter your email, get the swipe file emailed to you. So we have an automation built out. This is using Beehive, which Beehive is what we use for our newsletters, most of our newsletters. And we also used ConvertKit, and we've tested out Letterhead in the past. But we're using Beehive for this Investipreneur newsletter, which is my personal brand newsletter, right? So now coming back to the revenue engine here, we're actually bypassing Simple Profits warm-up newsletter. And this is going straight intent-based to the Chris at Bootstrapper, which is our Investipreneur newsletter, because it's a next level. It's a tier down value action, and it's tied closer to the community brand, and it's not coming in from different channels. So we're already working to the most nurtured state. And in this email, you get the header image, which clearly communicates what this is. Share what we do here, what we love, bootstrapper.community, and we do what we love here, what we share, Bootstrapper Capital. And then here's your link to get your free copy. So now somebody can get their link that clicks out to the Miro board, right, which is the schematic that we're already in. And when you're in the Miro board, it links to the community up top. So it automatically anchors in, and you can click to the community. And if you're in view only, you can only click, right? You can't edit or anything like that. So everything's pretty simple. Keep it simple. And this gets you to the main homepage landing page, build where you belong, right? Which again, I'm not going to do a landing page breakdown. The second thing you get is a link to the YouTube. And the YouTube was the video that's also embedded in the landing page. And then the third call to action off of this email automation is to explore the community for profit-led businesses. And it gets you back to that founding member, which was the redirect. So in this model, we're delivering the value, and we've created 2 opportunities to get somebody back to this conversion page, and we've created one opportunity to get somebody back to the general community landing page, and then 2 opportunities to get somebody to explore and experience our content, right? So a couple of different touches, a couple of different positionings of various value propositions. And that's how we've done it. And this was quite literally us doing it for ourselves relatively quickly, so that we can then record this video and actually be able to create the content of what we're doing, practicing what we're preaching, so that we can also teach it at the same time, share it, do it in public, implement it. And then as we continue to work through this process, we'll continue to build upon this entire thing and hopefully make this like an experiential journey where we can then come back at a later date, similar to what we did with the newsletter when we first did, put that together as a campaign, and actually share the data, truly build in public, do true teardowns, and we'll do all that stuff inside the community. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to share in that experience, if you want to be in a supportive environment where we can build better together, right? All folks that are building profit-led businesses, right? We're all working together to get to simple, profitable outcomes. We're all business owners. We're all bootstrapping on a budget. We all want to build better businesses on a budget. Then do so inside of the community. Come and join us. It's at bootstrapper.community. And if it's not ready for you to join the community right now, that's perfectly okay. Definitely like and subscribe on this video. We're trying to build up the channel. Appreciate you. Hopefully you found some value in this video today. All of these videos we do in one shot. I don't do any editing. This is 100% through and through, as bootstrapper authentic as you can possibly get. It's really important to us, especially at the beginning stages of this journey as we're building out this community, to do it in this manner. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some value. Till next time.